Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Batman issue 151 by Chip Zdarsky, Mike Hawthorne, Tini Howard and Mariana Ignazi. Chip Zdarsky's Batman ongoing fully joins Absolute Power this issue as Bruce reunites with Selina, meeting her at what she calls the Drawer, a special sealed-off safe house she's retreated to while Waller tries to take over the world. Over coffee, Bruce explains that Amanda Waller has a mother box, a very dangerous device, and both he and Selina are going to steal it from her. In these first 2 pages, Zdarsky sets us off on a big adventure that I think this early into my review I could probably say is the best Absolute Power tie-in to date, and we'll get to why as we continue. Now, Bruce and Selina aren't just going in as Batman and Catwoman, they are going undercover, posing as Century Globe military contractors Mr. Blackwell and his executive assistant Miss Tessworth. I adore when Bruce gets to play dress up and become other people, like when he's matches Malone, or even when he's doubled Superman a couple of times and other heroes. It's always really fun and kind of adds to that spy thriller element that Batman sorely misses every now and then, but should kind of dive into a little bit more. Makes him like James Bond almost, and it's really cool. This issue is also a sequel to Suicide Squad Dream Team, as while Bruce and Selina's secret identities arrive on Okinawa, so does the Suicide Squad, who are met by the now cyborg Bizarro, the villain brought back to life after being shot in the head with a blue kryptonite bullet by Deadshot in the final issue of Dream Team. This is a real neat reveal since I assumed the Bizarro would have been left for dead, being that we actually have the real Bizarro left, as this Bizarro is the one, that really weird one that's from like Red Hood and the Outlaws and it's kind of a holdover from the New 52, and it looked like what Dream Team was setting up was kind of getting him off the board so we can have just the original Bizarro back, which we had in Action Comics recently with Jason Aaron, and so as not to confuse people. But I guess making him like a cyborg version of Bizarro kind of makes sense since that doesn't really actually exist, so it kind of makes him a new character now, which is really quite awesome. This also is the first time, and we'll see more of them through the issue, that we see that Waller is kind of bringing back a lot of either dead or severely injured villains we haven't seen for a while, using Brainiac technology like she did on John Kent in the Absolute Power main series, turning them into, cyborg henchmen that are, I guess, a bit more docile and under her and Brainiac Queen's control. Bruce meanwhile meets with General Milnon, having quote-unquote bought some time with the General to ask if they can use the Okinawan jungle as a new training ground for his non-existent military units. Bruce bribes his way into a deal as Selina breaks off and decides to take down some guards, getting a new disguise and following the Suicide Squad into the jungle, as they've been sent to the base to protect something, that something being the Mother Box. What I really like about this Bruce and Selina team up is that either of them could have done each other's jobs. Like, Selina could have been left with the General to smooze him and seduce him a little bit, not really, but play up that role a little bit to the General, while Bruce could go off on the mission in the jungle, and then it's vice versa. I like that there is that thing where there is that overlap where they could fill each other's roles, and then together they can do a little bit more, since now they're sort of spread out, they're following different leads. Of course it'll eventually meet together, which is really quite cool. Bruce eventually finds that there is a bunker base out in the jungle that's completely off limits, while out on a tour of the jungle with the General, who he quickly takes out and changes into his Batman costume, catching up with Catwoman, who's deeper in the jungle with the Suicide Squad, and just in time too, as Black Alice uses her magic to sense that Catwoman is nearby, causing the team to attack her. Batman is forced to fight the squad while Catwoman breaks into the nearby base, and Batman's fight with Deadeye is quite interesting since Zdarsky makes reference to the Beast World book that saw Deadeye join up with characters like Val-Zod and Batwing, the one Nothing Ever Happened, which I mentioned in my review felt like it was bolted together last minute, and was really upset because it was a great cast of characters and they've just done nothing with, which means this reference is both weird and cool, since obviously they're not doing anything with that team or set of characters, but it's also cool since both of these books now have sort of a through-line continuity for Deadeye, which is really interesting to see, and I'm intrigued to see if he's going to go the way of Dreamer, since he hates working for Amanda as well, so I could see it may be coming back, but I doubt it. It's a bit too far along, and I honestly don't know how many people actually read that tie-in will actually know what the hell is going on when Valzod and all these other prominent African American and black characters turn up, and no one would know what was happening. It's just a real shame. It's a damn great team. Batman's fight with Deadeye is interrupted by the cyborg Bizarro, and since Batman is on the back foot right now, and also he's written by a writer who knows that he's just a man in a costume, Bruce has to resort to using Bizarro's logic against him, that is, talking in opposites. I've said before and I'll say it again, I love that Zdarsky does this with Batman. It would have been so easy for him to, whip out a blue kryptonite sliver from his belt and use it to ward off Bizarro and save the day. But Zdarsky's Batman is just some guy and he's working with what he's got. And in this case, it's his brain, and he knows he's a lot smarter than Bizarro and can just outwit him. While Batman is dealing with the squad, Catwoman finds herself in the bunker and finds that it's not a mother box that's in there. It's a constantly open boom tube gate. The energy it puts out is what Cyborg detected last issue before he was captured by Paradise Lost. Bruce, of course, pulls the Noble Sacrifice card, wanting Selina to leave while he goes through alone. But Catwoman isn't having any of it, diving into the unknown with Batman. The heroes go through and find themselves in Waller's family tomb, with multiple people from Waller's family interred in the walls. Batman believes that they're in Chicago, since that's where Waller is from and where this place should exist, but upon opening the tomb doors, he finds they're actually on the dead world of Zarnia. This is another really cool pull, as we recently saw Zarnia in the House of Brainiac event, and it looks like Waller is intending on either taking over the dead world or at least using it as sort of like a little bit of an escape hatch for her to escape if things on Earth don't go her way. Before Batman can fully determine what Waller is doing there, Catwoman trips a bomb and Gunsmith attacks the Dark Knight, yet another villain who was seemingly killed off at the end of Night Terrors, only to come back all cyborgified and as a security guard for Waller's escape plan. Gunsmith isn't the only problem, as the rest of the Suicide Squad show up to deal with the heroes, and we are left on a big cliffhanger. Throwing Batman and Catwoman off-world during a big event to track down some of Waller's biggest guns is such a fucking cool idea for a tie-in, and feels like it's actually going to matter as we're exploring Waller's inner operation, much like how over in Green Lantern Hal Jordan is doing, and we get to seeing a different side of it, a more personal side of it, being that it's now her tomb and there's like this world that she obviously wants for herself now. Is a very personal place that Batman and Catwoman have kind of tripped into. On top of that, Zdarsky is getting to reunite Bruce and Selina together and not have it steeped in that wanky Tom King era Bat-Cat dialogue that still to this day, the characters are having a hard time escaping. They feel like a couple who have had their differences and problems and are trying to work them out, but when the chips are down and things need to get done, they get them done, and they are a pretty great team. Throwing Batman into a new environment, or one that he very rarely ventures into, like space, is always a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Zdarsky has in store for us next issue. The book also features a backup by Teenie Howard, who joins the book with a story featuring Harley Quinn and a few other Batman rogues, as all hell has broken loose in Gotham. So for Harley, it's kind of just a usual Tuesday. While traversing the sewers to try and get back home, Harley happens upon a bat scanner that has obviously fallen from Batman's utility belt at some point, and is playing a video of the Riddler. She figures Batman lost this device at some point and decides to take it upon herself to solve Riddler's riddles and deal with him, since no one else is going to be able to do it. Harley quickly figures that Riddler is threatening the Gotham County nuclear power plant, and with the heroes out of commission, she now needs to go and deal with it herself. Howard's energy for Harley is just brilliant and infectious, and I just love how she just doesn't stop. She's, running around the city, always constantly talking with herself or others around her. She just doesn't stop, and the energy just doesn't let up, as when she finds Riddler, she decides to just kind of destroy his operation, just not wanting to really deal with it. And we get a side of Riddler we very rarely see, in that we see him explain that he's kind of doing this because he expects, a hero or just, a stand-in for the Bat family, someone, Superman, Wonder Woman, anyone to come and stop him. And he hasn't realized what exactly is going on with the world. So the one time he does like a big plan like this, like threatening to literally nuke the city, no one's going to be coming to stop him. And he kind of has that realization like, oh shit, I kind of fucked up this time. There's also this kind of humorous thing where it's kind of implied to be his fetish, that he likes getting caught and maybe beaten up a little bit. I kind of like that idea that he has this little bit of a fetish for that sort of stuff, because he's always being beaten and everything, so you'd think he kind of likes that sort of stuff. But Edward, realizing he's kind of doomed, not just himself but everyone else in the city, by causing the power plant to go into meltdown, is fantastic, and it's revealed his riddles weren't actually that hard either, since between Harley and the hostages, they solved them all pretty quickly. Again, another thing that kind of points to the fact that he just really wanted to be beaten by someone. Of course, because of the secret nature of the nuclear power plant's work and, government secrets, that sort of stuff, no one can actually tell anyone else that Harley was the one who saved them, so she's kind of just left in the lurch. No one knows that she actually saved the city or anything, and it's a cool little twist at the end here. It's revealed that Harley is retelling this story to poison Ivy later on. So it's a bit of well, did this actually happen really sort of thing? Is Harley kind of embellishing some sort of things? We'll never know. And I kind of like that. It's just a little fun adventure. I also want to shout out Mariana Ignazi's wonderful artwork for the book. That, along with colorist Giovanna Nero's colors, everything just really pops off the page. They did this choice where they use Harley's, slightly pinkish red and blue colors to light every scene and use as backgrounds. It just looked really great and just popped off. And when you compare it to Mike Hawthorne's work in the main story, which was also really good, it just really stands out even more. Batman's first full issue in Absolute Power turned out to be the best tie-in to date. I thoroughly loved how different it was, focusing on Batman and Catwoman's teaming up and their relationship, tying it into the Suicide Squad Dream Team book, and digging into Waller's plans for herself if her mission fails. Teenie Howard also brought us some much needed levity with a fun Harley Quinn backup, which I'd like to see a little bit more of. I'd like to see her kind of do these little vignettes with all these different villains throughout the course of Absolute Power, and I think that would be really cool. She brought a great energy to the book and left me smiling. I'm going to give this issue a 10 out of 10.